Hey guys, Professor Bill. Ooh, hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. I apologize that took so long. Woke up late. Happens. Um, this is a freaky episode. This one, episode 6, didn't give as much information as I kind of would have hoped it would have, but it is what it is. Some of the notes that I have, the opening reminded me a lot of Blossom and some of those other '90s style television shows. Um, Blossom, I guess, was like the natural progression to Punky Brewster, which go figure, they're bringing back Punky Brewster, the same cast and everything. Um, one of the things watching this episode, something that I think, we can all agree on. This guy was definitely the cooler of the two Quicksilvers. I don't know if Aaron Taylor Johnson could have pulled this off. You know what I'm saying? By the way, guys, I'll get to all the comments on the side in a hot moment. Um, I don't think that Aaron Taylor Johnson could have pulled this off, but the when you saw his death scene towards the end of this, say like you remember Vision had a death scene where he saw his head punched out a couple episodes ago. In this one, you get to see she turns around and she looks at Quicksilver. She looks at Pietro, and he's dead. And you actually see the bullet holes through him, and they're in pretty much the exact same place that they were on Aaron Taylor Johnson when he died at the end of Age of Ultron, Avengers 2. So that was interesting. It's interesting the mix of these two together. Uh, the costume. Oh, geez. We got to see Scarlet Witch's costume and Vision's costume, which we already saw in previews. We got to see Quicksilver's costume in this also. Later on in the episode, you realize that Tommy has that same costume. It would have been nice if his was green, because even if it was the same thing, like Quicksilver when everybody thought that he was an Inhuman. Remember, he wore the exact same costume except it was green, where he'd normally be blue, but there was still the lightning bolt across the chest. That would have actually been kind of cool, especially since Speed, Tommy, was actually always dressed in green. I think that would have actually been pretty cool. But we got to see Wiccan's costume on Billy. That that was freaking cool. I really did not expect to see that one either. So it was really cool seeing that. Um, Scarlet Witch's costume, something I mentioned in the one of the Comic Book University podcasts 1 or 2 episodes ago. They drop every Sunday morning. Um, what do you call it? Elizabeth Olsen actually talked about how she fought to be able to wear that costume. I don't know how much she would have had to fight to wear the costume. I think they were just going to throw on like a what do you call it, a little headband, not the big head dress that she was wearing, just like a headband and kind of make it whatever. And she was like, no, 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 no. It's got to be the full Scarlet Witch costume. Aside from the tying the thing here, as opposed to the big scarf that she would wear with the cape flowing behind it in the comics. It was very accurate, and I really dug on that. She says that she fought to actually see that. She also argued that the only way you could actually see the costume like that in all its glory would be if it was in that particular environment, the Halloween episode, because that costume wouldn't work in reality. Matter of opinion. I remember somebody somebody getting into a really big shouting match with me online, just typing in all caps, because I argued that I'm tired of seeing the black uniforms on the X-Men, and this was a while ago. And everybody said, not everybody, but a couple of people saying, "You're an idiot if you think that the yellow spandex one would actually work in the movie, in the movie setting." And I'm like, did you not see the first Avengers movie? Like it had just come out a couple months ago. Like, did you not see that? Because I mean, Captain America, like, he looked like Captain America. All the characters looked like themselves. You don't think that they could do the same thing with Wolverine? I mean, Cyclops. You don't think they could do that? So I'm glad that they're at least doing that. And here's one of the things that I especially love about that article that I reported on in the Comic Book University podcast. Subscribe now. It's free. I mean, just click follow, done. And it's on every platform. But it's the idea that Elizabeth Olsen is a fan. and she's really into the character. I don't know if she read comic books before this, probably not. Most people don't, right? But she's a fan of the character now. She's gone back, she's read a bunch of these old issues. You can see in some of the commercials that she had done a while ago where she's doing the no more mutants thing, and you actually see the comic book lips in front of her face. Like stuff like that is amazing. You see stuff like that, and it's like, bro, you are my Scarlet Witch, you know? Um, I wonder if more people would be accepting of Brie Larson if she did some comic book, I don't know, references like that also. That would be pretty cool, right? Anyway, um, couple of couple of Captain Marvel references here again, with Monica having a very close association with Captain Marvel. We'll get to that. Actually, we'll get to it really soon. The the joke thing with the Sokovia. I just want to throw this in really quick. The joke thing with the Sokovian old women putting fish for Halloween in the bags, I think was freaking hysterical. Maybe a little cultural insensitive to gypsies, the Roma, and everybody else classified as gypsy, but dude, funny is funny. Like that was freaking hysterical with the fish. Okay. Onto the reality portion of the show, the interlude. Sick to see that when Hayward comes walking by and the crew are over here, right? The little squad is over here, Monica and Wu and Darcy. And Darcy says that little comment. It's like, bro, really? Like, you control yourself, like flat out. Just honestly, control yourself. Somebody earlier, I just saw the comment not too long ago for the previous episode, and I ain't mad at people for pointing some things out. If we can accept that Tony Stark and Doctor Strange are jerks, then we can get Darcy a cup of coffee because of my comments in the previous or the previous two episodes. No, completely disagree. I always like I've always argued that Tony Stark was a jerk, and I've always argued that it's hard to have sympathy for a character like that, which is the genius of what Robert Downey Jr. has done by actually having an entire movie, now several movies, but an entire movie where he's a jerk, but he also does some redeeming things, right? It's hard to argue that he's a hero without the ending of the MCU for him. It's hard to argue he's not a hero without the ending of the first Avengers movie, right? It's hard to argue any of that stuff. He's a selfish prick. That's all he's ever been. And Doctor Strange kind of got what he had coming to him. He deserved all those things happening to him. I'm sure a lot of us were like, wow, okay, he didn't deserve that much, like crying and broke and all that stuff, and still trying to find any kind of a cure possible, showing his desperation. Like it was a lot, you know what I'm saying? But this was also character development. Something that has to be understood is nobody's seen a lot of character development with Darcy. Darcy was just this twit who was the least of the three scientists who were always shown in the original Thor movie. And now all of a sudden she's an expert. And now all of a sudden she's a bitch. And now, yeah, nobody wants to get her a cup of coffee because you're acting like that. And there wasn't any character development. It's important to remember these and keep these things in mind. Like I've argued, it's not an anti-woman thing. It's a character thing. She doesn't have a lot of screen time. So when the directors and everything choose to take the little bit of screen time that she has and make her into more of an unlikable character than a likable character, it says a lot about how they're trying to push this forward. Likewise, in this episode, in the beginning, when she, just says, "Oh, look, here's the guy with the murder, crew," and blah, 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 blah. Extremely unprofessional. Now, mind you, saying this to a guy who straight up tried to assassinate Wanda, right? Agreed, but he's also the guy who's in charge. And at the end of the day, if you want to play inside the sandbox, don't piss off the guy who owns the sandbox. I know that the purpose of this was to actually push the show forward as fast as it possibly can, but you're also making some characters unlikable when you do that. So interesting to see that You know, they all had something to say. Like she could have been removed. Darcy could have been removed just with that comment alone. Hayward turned around. He's just like, do you work for me? She's like, I don't really know. Deer caught in the headlights. Yeah. So I like that they actually put that into the show. It's like Darcy makes very bad decisions. Darcy has very poor, what's it called? It's what kids have, impulse control. She has really poor impulse control. Like, just because something comes to your mind doesn't mean that you do it. If you see somebody teeting around the end, like a cat or like a kid, you don't give them a little push just to see what will happen. You're a grown ass adult. You're supposed to be able to think past the action that you're considering making right now instead of just, oh, I've got a cool thing to say. Let's just say it. No, this guy can have you removed from the whole project immediately on the spot. Monica actually had to jump in and practically say, hey, Darcy, shut up. You're going to get yourself in trouble. And she's like, she's with me. So she was using her pull, like calling in a favor here. And then afterwards with the what do you call it? Afterwards though, but like seeing everybody acting out this way, it it says a lot. I know a lot of us are making snap decisions or impressions. We're having immediate first impressions about. Remember, most people's first impressions about this television show from episode 1 and 2 was that it was a horrible show. I had people, and I'm sure that that's changed a lot. I've had people on the first episode when I said, I didn't hate this. This was actually, it wasn't great, but it was actually pretty good. There's actually some people said, you didn't immediately say that this was the stupidest show in the world, therefore unsubscribed. Bye. Because look at those people now coming back in droves. There are memes out there saying, yeah, if you weren't on in the beginning, we don't need you now. Which is like, dude, that's not cool. But like the fact that those memes are out there, it says something. This show was fantastic. The show was really good and it only got better. And you appreciate what's happening more and more, right? So seeing that there are actually consequences for certain behaviors in the show, it does bring in a certain level of reality. Making the snap decision that Hayward is the bad guy immediately because he's saying what he's saying, listen to what he's actually saying. Yeah, he pulled a mom card on Monica, which is like, dude, you really are a dick. At the same time, dude's also under a whole lot of freaking stress, right? He's trying to actually potentially save some people. And these guys are actually questioning him in public, in front of that's one of the things that bothers me about the show is that Monica of all people shouldn't be this like edgy isn't a character trait. You get what I'm saying? So having Monica be this person who goes against the rules, but she's been in the military long enough that she understands that there's a reason for the protocol, right? Salute the rank, not the person. Her acting out like this and in public in front of other people, she's got to know this is going to be a military discipline thing. So it's frustrating to see that sometimes. Also, they were just able to jump in and first off, they were able to beat up some people and they didn't raise any alarms. That's a really small camp. And then they're able to take that Humvee and leave like and there are guards right there, which yes, there would be plenty of guards, and they just let people go in and out of the outpost. They let people leave the outpost and they're not even stopped. And let me see your orders. You would actually have really real freaking orders in your hand, a paper of orders, letterhead and everything, signature from rank, like saying you can go on and off of this small base, saying this outpost. There's a lot of things that are just like it's screaming at me and my military background, like, no, this wouldn't happen. That said, there's a scene later on in here where they mention that Monica's actually been in the zone twice. That's something I'd like to see in the comments soon. Was she actually in the zone twice? I only remember her being in the zone once. How was she in the zone twice in Westview? I saw when she was initially put in and then thrown back out, like Wanda zipped her out. When was she in there a second time? So that was a little bit confusing to me. Literally, the most confusing part of the whole thing when Darcy said you've already been in there twice. Hayward has your blood results. Look, and they're looking and they can't make heads or tails of those blood results. Her body was changed at the molecular level. Wow. So yeah, a lot of people pointed out, and I didn't want to jump the gun, but yeah, this is where she gets her powers, so to speak. Maybe it's the third time maybe the third time is a charm. I don't know, but I think that it's interesting that they're actually pushing forward with this. The yogurt commercial was a little bit weird. Does anybody remember Go-Gurts and um, yogurt, whatever those things were, the Go-Gurts? For that, for that hunger, and the kid just like the shark comes up and he's like, "Can I have one of those?" Like it was a really sad freaking commercial, bro. Like I almost started crying at that commercial, for crying out loud. The minute she went through the hex twice. How did she? Yeah, I don't know when she passed through twice. I remember when she went in once, like she was like, what is this? And then all of a sudden, whoa, she got sucked in, and then she was in the whole 70s thing and whatnot. And then boop, she got, Wanda was like, "You don't belong here," and boom, shot her out. So she was in. So how is she in the hex twice? I don't understand what that means. Our friends get in and get out as twice. I don't know. It seemed to me like they indicated that she'd been in and out twice, or she'd been hexed twice. I didn't see the hex thing, the twice thing. Anyway, what do you call it? So when we look at just really quick, when we look at the end of this, Hayward suddenly doesn't look like the bad guy anymore, right? Hayward is able to recognize something. Now, mind you, they apparently had Vision's body, and who knows what they were doing to it. They were separating, they were dissecting it, and he's talking about, oh, it was against, she resurrected him against the will. Okay, but they experimented on him certainly against his will. Saying, so nobody's the good guy here. That's the thing that's important to understand. Nobody is necessarily the good guy here. If anything, Vision is the good guy here. Saying when he came out, it was telling of who the Vision is, that he's a hero, that he's just like, help. And we're like, help me? No, help them. They need help. The people inside Westview. That's also very emboldening. It's very like, hello, look at what happens over here. Saying Darcy was right there, handcuffed to the stupid thing. Yeah, they forgot her, whatever. I'd forget her ass too. Hey, don't worry, there's a cup of coffee over there, somewhere. Look for it. Anyway, it's literally like, you question my every freaking decision. Now look, Vision is coming out and saying Wanda's doing all this stuff. Look, the thing's expanding. What, you thought everything was okay, right? If we did things your way, what? I think it was really important that they actually showed that Hayward wasn't necessarily wrong here. Everybody away jumping on the idea that he's bad. People were also jumping on the idea that, Agnes, she must be Mephisto. She must be, blah, 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 blah. She's in on this and whatnot. Did she look like she was in on it now? Nah, I never, ever, ever. And so, hey, look, if you just jump on something right away, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. Saying me, I prefer to try and analyze things. Like that's just the way that I do it. I try to analyze the thing, and I don't try to rush to a judgment. You know what I'm saying? Agnes was clearly not in it. When you're seeing the first person, as he starts getting closer to as Vision is walking around and he starts getting closer to the edge of town, and we start seeing, people are slowing down and people are just going through movements again and again. I'm going to hang the ghost, but you're too far away from the tree to hang the ghost. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, that's not working. Let me try it again. But this is really all that I can muster, because Wanda, to me, I looked at it as Wanda wasn't paying as much attention out there. So it's like, yeah, just do your thing. Nobody's going to be out there. Just in case somebody sees from a distance, it looks like you're doing whatever. Okay, now I'm going to hang out with my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it really looked like to me. So seeing the tear come down the girl's eye, the woman's eye, when she's doing this, like, oh my God, my freaking heart is bleeding right now. You know what I'm saying? Wow, that was bad. Wow, that was bad. I still think Agnes is in on it. She nudged Vision into escaping fully. Yeah, I hear you. I guess it was I don't know. That's the thing. When you're so locked on an idea, you start to like alter your perception to make it look like, saying, oh yeah, she's still. I guess it's like it's a possibility. It's certainly, I'm not going to say it's outside of the realm of possibility that, she faked, saying coming out of it, she faked all of that stuff, but it's a possibility. It certainly is. I'm just going to leave it at that. Ellis Avenue and Rolling Hill. Is that supposed to be like Warren Ellis? I don't understand what that was supposed to be. That's a question that I have. Ellis. Huh. Huh. Ellis seems to be the road that goes around, or at least that borders that side. You know what I'm saying? What exactly is it? Why did they call it Ellis Avenue? I wonder if there has some other significance. I couldn't find anything in Marvel wise. Like all I can think is that it's like, based on Warren Ellis, saying that some of the stuff that he's done. But connecting to Ellis is Rolling Hill, which, okay. So is that like supposed to be Mariah Hill? Is it? Am I just reading into it too much? That's the problem with shows like this. You want to read into everything. You want to find every sneaky little thing imaginable, right? Like, what the hell was that stupid commercial that broke my heart with the kid who freaking died? Like, was that foretelling? Is that what it was? Like, trying to get the freaking yogurt thing open, couldn't get the yogurt thing open, so he starves to death and he dies, turns into a skeleton and everything. But anyway, when Vision reached that cul-de-sac and saw all the people barely able to move, ma'am, are these your kids? Dude, I don't know how many people here are parents, but I think every single one of us here who has kids, right? Or you're really close to like nephews or something like that. I think that when you saw like the woman is barely on the street, whatever, and her kids are just a little bit away from her and she can't move and she's looking dead at her kids, but she can't move, a little bit of mind control and everything like that. That's wow. Like that was breaking my heart. It's like, imagine seeing your kids there and you can't go to your kids. You are potentially in danger. Like you're in the middle of the freaking street. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. And anybody's going to argue, well, she wasn't fully on the street. Yeah. Neither was that chick in the first episode of the first season of The Boys. um, wow. That's messed up. So the end of this, when Billy suddenly, and I'm going to get to the comments right after this, the end of this where Billy is like he actually starts like Tommy's actually in the costume at this point, which is cool. Like he's taking after Pietro because he's the cool one, and Pietro's the cool one. So they're cool. So they're both okay. Speed, yeah. Those are the powers he's going to focus on. But Billy is more focused on like his mom and the idea of using magic and whatnot. So I dug that. What have you now? She he's out there, he's looking around. Oh my God, Wanda Maximoff is here. And he kind of looks around, he feels, he's like, Dad's in trouble. And he's trying to focus in, and Wanda can't focus on what's going on outside of her purview. So what does she do? She expands her purview so that she can actually find the Vision. That, I think, was one of the most interesting, most telling aspects about this. She can expand because it was mentioned by, I think it was in the previous episode, Monica Rambeau. She's the one who goes and mentions. She's like, when Hayward says there are 1,000 people and the blah, blah blah, and she's like, yeah, and we're lucky it wasn't thousands more. It's a good thing that she only stopped. She contained up to here. I was thinking to myself, I don't know that she can go further. I thought that she was basically just at her expanse. Maybe that was what she was comfortable with. We've all got a strength level, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? In general, we can all just, like there's a certain weight that you could pick up and, you don't break a sweat doing it. But then there's a certain level that, you strain yourself and you could do a little bit more. Right. And as long as it's a temporary thing, cool. But if you're permanently, or for a lengthy period of time, picking up a certain level of weight, that's when suddenly it starts to strain everything just a bit too much, right? So I found it interesting that she just kind of pushes her purview out so that she could perceive more. Vision was, of course, out. Like he was close enough that his cape was still in. I imagine he was crawling forward, whatever. I don't really care. But she expanded that a whole lot more. And now the only people left that were previously on that base. Besides, because I think that Monica and Jimmy Woo were able to get out. I think that Hayward and the people in that particular Humvee were the only other people who were able to get out also. So things is changing. Things are going to change a lot. This is episode 6. 3 more episodes to go. And hell is coming with them. Sorry, I just watched Tombstone with my wife for the first time. She never saw that movie before. I'm coming. You tell him I'm coming, and I'm bringing hell with me. Great freaking movie. All right, let's check out some of the good stuff in here. Breck, it's all good, bro. You're welcome whenever. Master Jarl, what's going on? Pyro, okay, hard name to pronounce. Sorry. So Senyal. Suan, what's up, Suan? Todd, G.A. Reynolds. A lot of crazy stuff. We're going places. This show, man. I know, right? That name, man. Who's going to be Monica's aerospace engineer guy? Reed, Adam? See, that's actually the really good question right there, because every time that somebody off the show is mentioned, because we're already still wondering who is the person in witness protection program, right? It's probably not Pietro. I mean, I know somebody mentioned like maybe it's Pietro. It's a possibility. Like keep throwing out ideas, because that's how we brainstorm. You know what I'm saying? I figured in this episode it would have indicated, yeah, man, ever since they picked me up on blah, blah, no, he couldn't remember anything. So if you don't remember that you're in a witness protection program, probably not you, So yeah, still wondering, like, is it Baron Zemo? That's my big thing. Who is it? Who could it be? Who could it be now? But what do you call it? Yeah, so now it's like, oh, I've got an aerospace engineer that I know. Let's go and hang out with him. Yeah, if it turned out to be Blue Marvel, that would actually be pretty cool. How sick would that be, right? Adam Brashear, how sick would that be? Funny how Billy sensed and Wanda didn't. Yeah, indicating that Billy potentially has more power than his mom, but just not the control over it yet. Darcy said as she passed through the barrier twice, her molecules were rearranged each time. See, that's what I'm saying. She passed through the barrier twice. How did she? Oh, wait a second. Pass through on the way in, pass through on the way out. Maybe that's what's indicated. Okay. So it's passing through the barrier that does everything. Okay, nice one, G.A. Reynolds. Nice one. Okay, good looking out there. Todd Troutman saying, okay, yeah. In and out is twice. Okay. Good one. Yeah, I don't claim to be like the freaking best guy at figuring things out. We're a family here. We all brainstorm. We're all gonna figure out this freaking show together. Damn it, we're gonna find the Mephisto character. All right. Notably, Vision still had the Mind Stone when he came out. Yeah, I think that might just be an aesthetic, because yeah, like what do you call it? When the clothes came out, when Monica Rambeau's clothes came out, they were still the mesh, like 87% Kevlar, whatever the heck that was, and everything. Like I don't know, they still existed. So if she fixed him to do whatever, it's probably not the Mind Stone. The Mind Stone would have given him enough power to stay constituted, I would imagine. So I'm pretty positive it's not the actual Mind Stone. I'm curious what that is, though. Why they? I guess just for, like I said, I think it's just for the aesthetic, but we'll see. Yeah, how did Vision Wanda get the Mind Stone back? Yeah, it caught me off guard. The Vish has the Mind Stone outside of Hex. I still think Agnes is in on it. She nudged him. What about her brother? Feel bad for the people inside of Vestry. Big time. I would hate that. The Karate Kid outfits in that scene. Well, you got all the 80s and 90s movies. Phoenix Rises, what's going on? I have my doubts over this Pietro being multiverse of X-Men version. Hello, everyone. Small town, I could see Doctor ignoring for a while, but what she just did should be an instant clock on. and a teleport to that location? Did Wanda reform the Mind Stone? Cloak. Monica went through the barrier twice, once in, once going out. Okay. Nice. Thank you, Chris. Press can't wait for the final 3 episodes. Me neither. Words on to season 2. Okay. That's a good question. I'm going to stop right there for a hot second. So, excuse me. With, for crying out loud, what was the question? With the season 2. So, what the heck is his name? Clark Gregg, who plays Agent Coulson. He wound up accidentally spilling something. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but anyway, apparently he was there to see something. He was there to do something, and he wound up seeing something with Loki specifically. Now, we already know that there's going to be a season 2 of Loki now. All right, that just came out like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, that there's going to be a season 2 of Loki. Again, the Comic Book University podcast, which comes out only in podcast form everywhere where you can download podcasts. I update on all the latest pop culture news, including news about all this good stuff. I can't remember everything and bring it here, but follow the Comic Book University podcast. It's free. I don't charge anything for it. What do you call it? We're in the top 100 in Canada, and we're in the top 40 in New Zealand. Right? Almost in the top 100 in America. Just saying, it's pretty big. The Comic Book University podcast. Anyhow, so Greg Clark. There we go. Greg Clark was looking at some of the senior whatever, and he specifically saw with Loki. This is why it had come out with Loki that. It said something about episode 18 or episode 16, something like that. And he found that strange because he's like, well, wait a second, this is weird. I thought it was only supposed to go up to like 8 episodes. So why do I see that there's a full 18 episodes or 16 or whatever the hell it was supposed to be? So he said something like that in public, and suddenly got reported on. And that was months and months ago. So the idea that they only just recently announced, oh, there's going to be a season 2, even though season 1 hasn't actually come out yet. Oops. It says a lot, right? So could they be filming extra episodes? Could they have already filmed a bunch of extra episodes? Yeah, absolutely. They absolutely could have. At the same time, is it necessary to do that? Do we know what's going to happen in the future with Wanda or whatever? I'd be really sad if they ended all of that, if they ended if they killed Wanda at some point. I'd be really genuinely sad. It is what it is. But for the love of God, man, I would love to see it if they actually did continue with this in some way, shape, or form or another. But I would imagine that Doctor Strange is going to solve all of this, if not more. Plus, on the Comic Book University podcast, I pointed out that they're arguing that there's a really good chance. A lot of people have been saying that what's his name? Doctor Strange might actually appear on the final episode of this show, which I have a feeling a lot's going to be solved. Then again, how much could be solved? Because Spider-Man 3 is also going to have the multiverse of madness. You know what I'm saying? So who knows if Doctor Strange is going to be able to fix everything? Who knows? Who knows what the oh, for Christ's sake, what the heck is it called? The Eternals. Like, what are they actually going to be involved in? How are they going to? Because remember, the whole point, it's all connected. So how is that connected to this? We're going to find out. That's for damn sure. Maybe an acronym. It could be an acronym. That's a good one there, Redneck Trailer. What else is this? The Mind Stone was in the trailer. Didn't see that. Cool. Greetings from Argentina. Greetings from Canada, Renato. Just rewatched the beginning. I noticed how Peter woke up and looked confused as if he didn't know where he was. Yes. Heard a theory Professor X sent him, and this might be true. It's a possibility. I don't know. Professor X doesn't have that kind of power, though. So we'd see. I wouldn't be upset. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I would love to see it all connected. I would love to see James Avery come over. Um, okay, Wanda, the leotard costume. Need I say more? Yeah, she's just gorgeous, man. Elizabeth Olsen is gorgeous, and she's an amazing actress. Um, she looks like she could be the hot chick. She looks like she could be the hot mom. You know what I'm saying? She looks like she could be the wise old mom. I mean, I feel like Elizabeth Olsen's range is pretty much unlimited. You know what I'm saying? Just absolutely awesome. I could see, honestly, I could see her replacing Sigourney Weaver in a reboot of the Alien franchise. I mean, Sigourney's still around, but she got to pass the torch to somebody, right? By the way, Marvel has the rights now to the and Disney has the rights now to the Alien franchise. So if you heard it here first, I'm saying I think it'd be great if Marvel did consider whatever's going to happen with the Scarlet Witch. Elizabeth Olsen is good for a lot more than just the Scarlet Witch. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing her in a lot more shows because she's just really good. Um, and Doctor Strange is all about protecting our reality. She just took over a third, at least of a state of reality warping. That should have been an instant intervention on his part. Yeah, yeah, agreed. As soon as he finds out about it, as soon as he scries it over with his orb of Agamotto, which is different from the eye of Agamotto, my peeps. That's more local. Patrick Stewart has talked about working with Disney and specifically Marvel. Odysseus, I would love to see that. Like I said, man. Plus, Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool 3 is in the MCU. Yep. I loved Wanda saying "kick ass," a nod to Aaron Taylor Johnson. Agreed. And the Mark Millar thing, 100%. Imagine if Paul Bettany's surprise Luke level cameo is Denzel as Blue Marvel. See, you know what? I think that Denzel could certainly. Denzel, you want to talk about somebody with a range? Granted, all that I've ever seen Denzel in lately is him in the lone. I'm going to get revenge on everybody with my guns role, which is sad because he's a lot better than that. But yeah, it would actually be really cool to see Denzel show up as Adam Brashear. Wow, that would be freaking amazing. I don't think Doctor Strange is the cameo because whenever they refer to Luke Skywalker cameo, they mean a character that's nostalgic. That's nostalgic to see with the character, someone we haven't seen in a while. It's a possibility. I think she will break reality a bit. So yes, Doctor Strange is going to have to come to help fix it, as well as help Wanda master her new powers, or wind up becoming the main bad guy. I would love to see her more as a hero. I would genuinely love to see that. She is a tragic character. She has the potential to be a tragic character. And I know anybody here who's a pure X-Men fan is just like, F her and F Captain America too, because X-Men fans have a very, and when I say X-Men fan, because I'm an X-Men fan, but when you're only a fan of the X-Men, it's like screw the rest of Marvel. It's like you have a different perspective on certain characters because in the X-Men verse, the characters are a little bit different when they come to the X-Men side of things. So I'm saying, what's up, Justin? How you doing, man? One thing, G.A. Reynolds says, one thing that's interesting to me is that Wanda apparently has death flashes. Yeah, that aren't snippets of reality. Like, why did she see Vision as dead if outside the barrier? It isn't the case fully. Yeah, exactly. I think it's more the idea that she knows, like she's trying to remember. We can trick ourselves into some things. You know what I'm saying? Here's something that's interesting, and I don't know if Marvel is this in depth, if they're this detailed, but if you ever practice magic, if you ever practice the occult, if you ever practice thaumaturgy or anything like that, like actual modern day, the theories. I'm not saying that you can actually, make things magically teleport. No, I'm not talking about stage magic. I'm talking about actual magical theory, where it's more the philosophy of like the religion of Wicca and so on and so forth, and the OTO and Golden Dawn, areas along that purview. When you want to scry, when you want to like look for numbers and tea leaves or numbers and like it could be a freaking rock for all I care, whatever you're going to look in, or you're going to read your palm. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to just look at the general lines that you're seeing, but to see the inside message, it's always that first glance, right? So if you ever want to practice something like that, it's about recognizing your first instinct and cultivating that, as opposed to trying to make logical sense out of something. You get what I'm saying? Because when you look at something for the first time, even if you've already seen it, but you kind of turn back to it for a second, your mind has to make sense of the thing first. Otherwise, it's just, we always see something out the corner of our eye, and it's like, and then you look and it's like, oh, there's nothing there, or oh, it's just this, right? It's that idea of cultivating that first instinct and being able to recognize it for what it is. So seeing, like, that hidden number that you're looking for or something involves, like, if you're going to find it in your hand, you open your hand, practice like this and just boom. And that second before your eyes focus on everything, because it's like, this is the surface area that I have to pay attention to, that when you first open your hand, before your eyes focus, that moment is when you have to actually learn how to read, learn how to scry. That's one of the things to understand about. And if it doesn't make sense, read further into it by all means. Like, actually read up into it if you're interested. Otherwise, that's what you have to learn how to, cultivate a sense for, is that the second before your logical mind kicks in, when your immediate perception sees something before your mind can make sense of it, right? So maybe that's one of the things. Wanda is controlling everything around her. She's trying to change everything. And she's doing most of it subconsciously, because this is what's going to help her. And she doesn't realize this. This is mostly her id taking over. You know what I'm saying? When you look at Freud and whatnot. So Raven, what's up, Raven? So when she turns around, when she's like focusing on something and she kind of lets her guard down a little bit, and it's like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. And she turns around, and then she's got to focus in and say, no, 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 this is the reality. This is the reality of things. And if she was trained, if she were, proper English, if she were trained in magic, which she was not, like Doctor Strange, he'd be able to see that reality there for a second, and then cultivate that and just boom, lock onto that and be like, you're actually dead. What's going on here? Oh my, I've been changing things and I didn't realize it. That's one of the reasons why Doctor Strange, and we know this from the comic books, one of the reasons why Doctor Strange would be able to stand a chance against somebody like Shumagorath and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Which, by the way, Shumagorath, some people were asking about him last time. Guess what just came in the mail? First appearance of Shumagorath. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So anyway, what do you call it? Get in there, Bunky. So that's one of the reasons why Doctor Strange would be better equipped for something like this, because he has been trained. He does continue advancing his knowledge and whatnot. He actually pays attention to what happened before. So regardless of how powerful he is, his power isn't the real thing. It's his understanding of magic that allows him to be so ridiculously powerful. We can argue John Constantine. John Constantine, in the DC universe, any fans there, Constantine isn't the most powerful freaking being out there. Like, John Constantine versus the Demon Etrigan, just one-on-one, saying no tricks or anything like that. He's getting burnt alive and eaten. He's done. He has zero chance against the Demon Etrigan, even against somebody like Jason Blood. Like, when you're talking about raw, pure power, just boom. You know what I'm saying? Freaking John Constantine does not stand a snowball's chance in hell. The trick about John Constantine is his deep understanding of magic, which is deeper than Zatanna's understanding of magic. You know what I'm saying? Zatanna has that natural inborn ability. Go look up Zatanna. Zatanna explained in a minute on Comic Book University for more on that. If you're not familiar with her. But I mean, she's just got that natural power where she could do this, that, and the other thing, you know what I'm saying? Because of the birth, from her father and specifically her mother. She's got inborn magic about her. that she's learning how to control. Constantine doesn't have that, inborn magic. No, it's just his understanding of magic and his fearlessness that helps also. His understanding of magic is such that it makes him as ridiculously powerful as he is. And that's the comparison I'm going to make for between Doctor Strange and Wanda. She is pure raw power. He is a great understanding of things. Okay, let's see. What do we got here? Pure X-Men fan, and I don't hate Wanda. Well, you're a special case, though, there, Suan. Most people are like, freak out. I don't like Wanda. X-Men fan since X-Men Evolution. I get it. What is this? Phoenix. I think it was because Vision was still connected to the reality. He never actually got disconnected. He was still hooked by the wall. If he was cut off, he would have fallen down dead, hence enlarging. Not arguing it. Wanda gets it. Of course she does, because she's a witch, even though she says she's not a witch. That's her disguise. She says she's not a witch. That makes sense, Professor. I appreciate that background knowledge. Hey, since her first sense is you're supposed to be dead, I saw you die kind of thing. Yes, exactly. They think he's dying. Wanda then freaks out and increases the reality warp to keep him fine. Hence, he never got caught off from her reality change. If he did, normal dead Vision's body would be there. Yes, I agree. Hey, what's up, Raven? How you doing? I just said it, but hey, what's up? Hold on. How did Vision know Darcy? Did he? I don't know. Did he know Darcy? He just, help. Major thing I'm noticing while rewatching is Peter is confused about everything. Yeah. Whenever one of Wanda's twins is talking in the fourth person, Quicksilver looks at him confused. Yeah. It's funny, all the little details that you have to pay attention to actually get some of those side quests, I guess. He said Darcy pulled me out. I'll have to go back and look at it. I still got it up. I just don't want to stop this to go back and look at that. He also Jack Sparrow's everyone to get out of beatings. That's a good one, Phoenix. Yeah, Constantine Jack Sparrow's everyone to get out of beatings, get out of death, anything. Yeah, he always puts somebody else in there. Mexican American Martian, that Wandavision episode 6 intro brought back so many memories of me watching Malcolm in the Middle. Nice. Every time. Back in 2003 when I didn't have basic cable. Thanks for doing a great job reviewing comics. Thank you, Mexican American Martian. I love the name. What happened to the bee guy? Yeah, that's a good question, Troutman. I was actually thinking that with the previous episode. I was wondering, like, is that the mailman? That might, because the mailman came walking by. It's like, I'm sure that you'll be okay. Right before Darcy had the dead dog, Sparky. I was wondering if the mailman was actually the beekeeper, the guy in the suit and whatnot, because I don't know what happened to him. I wonder if we're going to see something later. That just seems so weird that they would focus on that and then we don't necessarily see the guy later. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, Darcy pulled me out. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. All right, guys, love, peace, and hair grease. Go back and rewatch this multiple times. Like what I tell you guys, from the very first episode that I reviewed, the rewatchability of this show is going to be off the chain, right? All right. Again, love and peace. Talk to you guys later. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.